knew what he meant by that. My father handed me his gun and said, "There are 2 bullets in the gun. You know how to use it. Use 1 bullet for your mother and 1 for yourself. Don't allow them to rape you." And we went our separate ways. I will never forget that goodbye. They went into the forest while my mother and I headed toward Potocai. Weak, my mother gave up the battle of walking after a few hours and sat down next to a graveyard. She wanted me to leave her and continue on by myself toward Potocai. I begged her not to ask me that again. I cried in her lap as she pushed me away, telling me that she hates me, attempting to convince me to leave her. I knew that she wanted me to save myself. I couldn't break myself away from her. I cried and begged her to continue walking, but she was too weak and had no strength to battle on. My stops and struggle brought her to do something only mother is capable of. "Sit," she said. She then hugged me and caressed my hair. The deep gaze of her divine eyes touched my soul. "I'm too weak. I don't have the strength to walk further. My life is ending as it is, but yours is just beginning. I cannot protect you if they capture you, and you know that they will rape. I will not be able to live with that. Leave me and go with the people, survive and live, and bear me healthy grandchildren." I looked at her silently, shaking my head, knowing answer to her wish. She then unbuttoned her blouse and took out her breasts and said, "Get up," and head upon this road toward Potocai. "Do not look back. When you leave, do not turn your head. Continue walking, or I will dam every drop of milk which I fed you from these breasts if you don't save yourself." Her message was clear and final. I was now alone on the corridor of death, fighting for my own life and fulfilling my mother's wishes to survive and give her grandchildren. After a few days, however, my mother did reach Potocai by crawling. She survived. 20 days later, thanks to God, again, my father and brother reached Tuzla alive. July 11th left painful traces in my soul. The Chetniks killed approximately 10,000 of my city dwellers. They killed 4 of my uncles, 2 first cousins, and a total of 99 other members of my close family. Based on my experience in Potocai, I wrote a poem which is in fact entitled Potocai. This poem is the true story of what I saw and lived through that day. I'm currently working on a new collection of poems, and Potocai will be a part of that collection. It has already been published in a collection of poems entitled Out of Rage, which is a collection of poems written by authors who competed in the 6th International Association of New Sarajevo Culture, where it was voted for the most read poem of 2013. Potocai. Rivers of us flowed in from all directions. Crying women and children drained elders, groups of lost, distraught young men. The July heat and clouds of enemy sleet built a nest above the heads of innocent people. We rushed, drowning in the dust of dry soil, as if we wanted to run into the arms of light, so as to escape the sharp sword of the guilty, the villain, who decides with hate that the heads of men will no longer exist, precisely there on our soil. Tearful mothers carried children in their embrace, their thoughts full of hope for their tiny souls, looking at Potocari with salvation, but instead of light, encountering darkness, and from fear choking the offspring in their embrace without ever realizing it. Shrieks rang from the darkness of night. We waited, frozen with fear, or there was unknown who would next be sent to death by the guilty. No one knew. Corpses lay in piles. I saw pestilence with my very own eyes. One over the other, they were thrown like logs, then covered by a bloody blue cloth. A stream of blood sprang from underneath them and joined into a stream of clear water in its unfortunate bed. They lay one over the other as if they were alive, as if they had just fallen asleep for a second. The blush on their faces still radiated in the July sun. I felt nothing then, no fear, no rage. A tear froze in my eye from the sorrow tightening my soul. I lifted the bloody cloth so that my eyes could look at the truth once more, and recognized a dear face, a friend from school. He looked at me with extinguished glance. I must not have had strained for lamentation and tears, but that sight was sealed within my soul to haunt me forever in my dreams and reality. And I will never know why nor how the hand of one man could take the life of another. But I remember the vast next to the road of Shushnari, where old age cut one step short and that swept in before its time. And those small, gentle hands that were forcefully torn from mother's embrace, taken on a different path and never returned. And the children's cries in silence, and the mother's sorrowful squalor, I remember. I place my grief into verses, so that evil is never forgotten, so that it is never repeated ever again to anyone. Thank you.